Hello, whiskey folk, and welcome to another Thursday night with me, Aqvavitae. It's 9:45. Welcome, everybody, and thanks for joining. I can see so many of you in already, and I've had a chance just to say hello and welcome to a few of you. Welcome, of course, if you're picking this up on the replay as well, like so many of you do. It's fantastic to have you watching, and it's fantastic to have so many of you joining me live as well. Bittersweet for me tonight. I'm not going to make a big deal of this because it's not like it's the last live stream ever, but it's the last live stream until September for me. Well, the last scheduled one anyway. And that's not a big deal for you guys, but it is a big deal for me because over the last 8 months or so, I've kind of got quite used to hanging out with you guys every other Thursday. And I always really look forward to it. And despite promising myself this summer break and feeling like I would probably need to recharge and things, I've just constantly been saying that, no, I'm fully energized and I could just keep going and I'm actually at the stage that I could do weekly live streams if I'm honest. It's just a time issue, but certainly I have the willing to do that. It's great fun hanging out with you guys and talking about all things whiskey. Tonight, I'm sitting here on another super, super sticky, warm Glasgow summer evening. It's been a ridiculously warm summer here in Scotland this year, and it gets to this time of night and all the kind of heat's built up in the house, and we don't have air conditioning here, and it's kind of difficult if there's no breeze to clear the air. It's another warm night in this room. So I'm actually having a whiskey on the rocks to cool down a wee bit. This is just a Glenmoran G10 that I threw over some ice, but the ice has long since melted, so I'm just having some whiskey now with some cool water in it. So cheers, everybody. Let's just jump in quickly and say hello and shout out a few of my friends who have joined already. And I'll apologise because no doubt I'll miss you. I always have huge regret when I watch the stream after, now that we've got this live replay thing, and I scroll through all the names and I realise just how many of you didn't get a chance to shout out. But I do my best. Finlay Patterson, hello Finlay. I believe this is your first time in, you mentioned earlier, and it's super, super nice to welcome a new face. Please chat freely and let us know where you are, what you're drinking, and what you're all about whiskey-wise. It's fantastic to welcome you here. Whiskey Sneerson is in as well. I think you've been on my live streams before. If you have, it's nice to welcome you back. And if this is your first time, it's awesome to see you in. I do see you on some of the other guys' streams as well. Mikey Hayes in. Mikey, fantastic. Mark from Whiskey Whistle, superb. Scott Kilted Moose, of course, my friend. Reb Mordecai is in, superb Reb. The Doc, Macallan Fine and Rare. Amy, Amy's husband's wife. Gillian is in, fantastic Gillian, good to see you. Everwind is in now. Eric Waite has also joined, fantastic. Eric, you're probably joining from work. Tom R, of course you're in, fantastic to see you, Tom. Amy beat you to the first spot tonight, I'm afraid. Dwayne is in, fantastic to see you, my friend, nice to welcome you back in again. Go Habs is in, superb. Go Habs, fantastic to see you. Hoagie's in from Germany, superb. Malt Chronicles, fantastic. Gus is in, Colourless Blue Things. That's one of my favourite handles. Yours and Blissful Mr. D. I like those whimsical handles that you have. Colourless Blue Things, nice to welcome you in again. I never know how to pronounce this, but it's Peggle Strand. It looks like Peggle Strand to me, but good evening to you as well. It's nice to welcome you in. So many people. Hoyt's in, fantastic. Tony Evans is in, and Sid Martin, Toon Van Rouge. Wow. Bourbon Shenanigans, Mike, it's good to see you. Josh Goladi. Hi, Roy. Looking forward to seeing you in Austin. Fantastic, Josh. You're going to be out in Austin. That would be fantastic. I think this is the first time I've seen your name in alive, and it's great to welcome you alongside Connor Strang, Jason Coates, Loch Ness, John Paul van der Hoven, Jag Singh. Jag, fantastic. We've been chatting on the side. It's fantastic to welcome in on a live. Simon Ray, superb Simon. Welsh, of course. Now I can settle. Welsh Toros joined us tonight. I hope you're all doing really, really well. I hope the weather is nice and comfortable where you are. It's just the warm side of uncomfortable here, as I mentioned earlier. So I've been kind of thinking about just hanging out with no particular theme tonight other than enjoying lighter summer whiskies and just doing a kind of relaxed, throw there's some questions about and ask me anything type format. It is, of course, going to be the last live stream for quite a wee while until the 13th of September. So we'll just kind of relax with it tonight and see how it goes. At the end of the live stream, although I am trying to keep it a wee bit shorter tonight because tomorrow morning I'm up at 5 a.m. to take a flight. It's holidays tomorrow. But towards the end of the live stream, there is a quiz, and it's a kind of leftover quiz, the one that we didn't get around to taking care of when Eric was here. So if Eric's in, I'm hoping that I can nominate him as kind of going head to head with somebody, because it was the quiz that he was supposed to take when he was here live with me a couple of weeks ago. Kieran, fantastic to see you. He's just bought me a dram. Kieran, you're a superstar. Thank you very much. He's saying, enjoying your show as always. Have a dram on me, mate. Thank you very much. I've just picked up a bottle of Longrow 16 Chardonnay. Wow, any thoughts? Haven't even tried it. I haven't even seen a Longrow 16 Chardonnay on a shelf anywhere, Kieran. Where are you in the world? Are you in the States? I wonder, is that one either a new one that I've just not spotted yet, or is it an export one? Could be either. But it's a Longrow. It's going to be engaging. It's going to have character. It's going to be damn good, isn't it? Superb. So let's put the refreshing over ice whiskey to the side for a second, and I'll pour my first light whiskey. As Simon is saying, off to Lewis and Harris shortly. Anything you'd recommend I try while I'm there? Where are you travelling in from, Simon? What's the context there? Are you travelling in from outside of the UK? Because if you're off to Lewis and Harris, depends the route that you're taking to get there. I don't have much intelligence on what you can buy when you're up there. It's quite remote up there. Welsh is saying, I have to take a quick break. The missus has made a tortilla, Spanish tortilla with potato. I wonder do you add onions to your tortilla? I prefer onions to be added, but I know the traditional way is just potato. Fantastic, Welsh. I'm a wee bit jealous of that. My Spanish nephew's visiting, and I have to do my bit. I'll be back later. We'll keep a seat for you, Welsh. Don't worry. Fantastic. Connor is saying it was a single cask UK exclusive. You're always there, Connor. Fantastic. Sold out instantly, of course. It's a Springbank Longrow. And really wanted to get one. Well, Chronicles is saying, did anyone ever slow down the video to 0.75 speed? Royce sounds like he's on his 10th dram. I'm just excited, Malt Chronicles. Come on. And yes, I'm trying to keep the energy up and not let it get slow and sleepy. So this is, I'm just opening this for the first time tonight. And I might have mentioned this bottle before. I was switched on to this by one of the guys at our whiskey club, and he works in the Good Spirits Company in Glasgow as well. His name's Roddy. He's a good guy. And we were talking about kind of beginner whiskies and starter whiskies and the type of whiskies that you buy to kind of start a flight and that kind of style of dram. And he mentioned this, and I'd spotted it and never picked it up before. And I'm now on at least this is my second, but this could actually be my third bottle if I'm honest. But it's perfect for that. So where you would normally have like a Glenfiddich 12 or Glenmorangie 10, like I did tonight or something, this is one of those really light, nice whiskies that can do that kind of thing. But this is 40%, so it is quite light in alcohol as well. There's Rob, fantastic. He's in buying me a dram as well, and he's saying for the sexy shirt and the fact that you're a boss. Thank you, Rob. You're also a boss, and I'm very happy to wear this shirt. I like this shirt. The only problem is that I realise because I'm wearing it tonight, I won't be able to take it on holiday with me, or I suppose I could take it and wash it while I'm over there. But I'm very pleased to have this shirt, and I'm very pleased to have you joining me and buying me a dram as well. Rob, thank you very much. So I'm just going to pour a little bit of this dram and tell you a wee bit about it. Now, this is a Gordon and MacPhail bottled under license Glenburgie 10-year-old. As I say, bottled at 40%. Gordon and MacPhail do a lot of these bottled under license type bottlings. And it's an independent bottler, obviously, Gordon and MacPhail, but the bottled under license bottles are not like a single cask or anything. They're actually bottling vatted single malt expressions under license from the distillery with the distillery name in place. And they do it for Linkwood, and they do it for Mortlach, they do it for Macallan under the Spey Malt name, and lots of other distilleries as well. And they tend to be pretty good drams, and pretty good value as well. They're not always consistent from one bottle to the next. I don't know what size these vatings are. Perhaps sometimes they can be a wee bit smaller than an official distillery one. I'm wondering, are we getting some judder? Am I sounding okay? And am I coming? It seems to be that the chat and everything is freezing and then jumping fast. Hope we're okay. Should be okay. Should be okay. So yeah, I've kind of been drawn to this. It's a wee bit more expensive than, say, you can get a Glenmorangie or a Glenfiddich on offer. I think it's about 32, 35 pounds. I quite like this. The last bottle I got through, I really quite enjoyed it. It's quite malt driven and a wee bit of honey on it. Similar again tonight. In fact, I know this is a Speyside, but to me, the last bottle that I enjoyed, it kind of struck me as what might be quite a nice Lowland style. At 10 years old, it was just quite nice and light. Malt Chronicles back saying, you got me all wrong. Your regular tempo is just great. I meant how funny and tips. Don't worry, Malt Chronicles, you offended me not a jot. Tipsy it sounds when the speed is low, like Go Have said. Ah, okay. So what you're talking about is the playback thing in YouTube. Yeah, of course. So there's a playback thing in YouTube where you can speed up the playback and slow it down and things like that and have a bit of fun with it. I've never actually done that to myself. I think I'll need to try and remember and see how that goes, see what it's like. Stephen Aldridge is in. Fantastic, Stephen, to see you. Aviation Pro as well. Fantastic to see you. I know I welcomed you earlier on text, but it's nice to welcome you in here. I'm not sure I've seen you in before either. Alexandra's in. Fantastic to welcome you. Eric is saying the video isn't jittery, but it's not very clear. Perhaps there is a connection issue tonight. I'm hardwired. I did a speed test and everything. I rebooted the router. It should all be as good as it can be. But, you know, there might be a lot of contention on the line or something like that. Hopefully it's good enough for you to be able to stick with it. Jason is in as well. Good to welcome you in. And fantastic also to see my friend James Hope in as well. I'm really going to miss these Thursday night hangouts over the next few weeks. I'm going to enjoy relaxing with the family and taking some time out and just kind of reflecting on how the last year or so has gone with the channel. I've already got some I'm bursting to share some of the ideas that I have with you, but I'm just kind of going to let them percolate a little over the summer and kind of come back with some of these fresh ideas and things that I want to do with the channel in general, not just the live streams. But I was setting up tonight and I was thinking about just, you know, how I was trying to even imagine what I used to do every other Thursday night from a whiskey perspective. And I used to have a friend, the Whiskey Rev, he's still around, but he lives up north now, so we don't get together. So I realized that what you've actually done is you've kind of, all of you have come into my house and replaced in place of the Whiskey Rev, so that I'm still able to kind of enthuse, geek out, and enjoy whiskey in a shared way. But it's just kind of a bit of a different dynamic rather than sitting across the table from the Rev. I get to hang out with a bunch of you guys as well. I remember the fear and the hesitation I had about doing that first live stream at the end of last year. And it's quite difficult to imagine that now. And I'm super, super glad I did that, because now we've got a live stream that's quite a regular thing in the European time zone. It's very, very well supported. I'm just blown away by how awesome it is to have you all hanging out with me every other week. And I kind of want to work out how I can somehow reward you guys for that, for everything, you know, all the times that you just turn up and kind of hang out with me. It's really, really cool. It's not just cool for me, but it's cool for so many people that join in and they turn up here. Scotty Swing is in tonight as well. Sherry Malt Drams, fantastic. It's another new name. Wishing me a great holiday. Thank you. I'm not sure if I've seen you in before, Sherry Malt. Fantastic. But I mean, obviously you guys are getting to hang out and see these familiar faces and chat and keep up to date with each other as well. But what I will say is that there's a bunch of you just watching quietly, and that's fine. I do the same thing when I'm on some live streams. I can't really be bothered to type, or I'm watching on a tablet or a mobile device or something. But if you are sitting in there and you're able to type, and it's your first time, please just jump in and introduce yourself. Highlight me if you can by using the @ symbol before you write Aqvavitae. And you can highlight anyone using that method, and just tell us where you are and what you're drinking, and we would all love to welcome you in. Superb. Richie Z is saying, greetings, Roy and Whiskey Friends. Fantastic to see you in as well again, Richie. Superb. Simon Ray is asking, travelling from Nottingham via Ullapool. Okay. Planning to visit Avonjark and Harris distilleries and wonder whether there are any whiskies I should try at those distilleries. Well, Harris don't have any mature spirit, right? Yet, I don't think. Avonjark certainly does. So, I mean, I'm not sure that you'll have the choice. I've only tried one Avonjark. It was very young, and if I'm honest, it was a bit rough still. I've yet to try a mature Avonjark, and I've tried nothing from Harris, Simon. So I'm sure when you get there, you just have to make your own adventure, and maybe you can feed back to us what you thought about it. Nick Place is asking me, fantastic to see you, Nick. And Mark J. Goins, it's another new name in as well. We've hit the 100 mark, fantastic to see. And I didn't advertise, well, I advertised it on YouTube. I put a video out on YouTube this week, but I didn't do it on Twitter or Instagram like I normally do. I just kind of run out of time prepping for holiday and things like that. So it's nice to welcome you and Mark and Nick as well. Nick is asking me where I'm going on holiday. I'm going to Spain, the southeast of Spain, a place called Murcia, or the region is Murcia. That's where I'm going this year, Nick. Yes, so wow, 100 people in joining me already. Kind of puts the pressure on. So while there's so many of you in, I guess before I get onto the subjects on the little list I've got tonight, well, it's a bit early. Let's wait till you're enjoying the video before you decide to give it a thumbs up. But if you're happy to be here already, then by all means give me a thumbs up. And if you think you want to give it a thumbs down, by all means do that, because YouTube seems to quite like it. Although I would prefer to understand why, even if it seems quite brutal. Mark is saying he's glad to be here. Fantastic. I think this is your first time, Mark. Just confirm that. And Sherry's saying he's in the Midlands in England, just having a nice dram of Deanston 18. Fantastic. My Deanston 18 is still intact. I kind of suggested to myself that I would try to step off the Deanston train a wee bit, because I just kind of, you would almost think I'd been sponsored by Deanston. But I named it my Distillery of the Year last year. And if I named something a Distillery of the Year and then spent the next year not really mentioning it, that would be more odd than talking about it all the time, I think. And I think that Deanston still continues to surprise me. The 12-year-old still seems to get better and better. And I've just picked up this 2008 Bordeaux cask. And if things go well tonight, and if you bully me into it and I'm in a happy mood, I'm going to pop that wee bottle open as well, just because it's the last stream. And I've already tried this as a dram, but that's the first bottle of the Bordeaux cask I've owned, and it was wonderful. And if my memory serves me right, I'm in for a treat. Rod Norton, fantastic, Rod, good to see you. Second time here, a dram of Chorlton Whiskey Burnside at my side. Wow, superb. Who waters your plant while you're on holiday? Yeah, Eric, I have to have a team of folk coming in regularly to water this guy. You know all about the plant, Eric. You were here, sat right next to it just a couple of weeks ago. Martin Fredso is in. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, Martin, but welcome in. First time here, having a lovely Abuna. Superb, Martin. And he's joining from Denmark, from Copenhagen. Absolutely fantastic. Whiskey Biker is in as well. Great to see you, Chris Sneller, down in Essex, sipping a bottle of Balblair Vintage 2001, bottle 2012. Superb. That's one of the older 2001 bottlings. And Toon has just dropped me a dram from the Netherlands, and he's saying he's drinking the new release of the Glenlivet Captain's Reserve. Oh, we have that on the shelves here. It's not a whiskey that blows your socks off. Yeah. But a great summer whiskey. Roy, keep going with your great content. Thank you very much, Toon. And with people like your continued support, of course, I'm very, very happy to. That's interesting, because I saw on the shelf in our local supermarket here Glenlivet Founders Reserve alongside the brand new Glenlivet 12-year-old, alongside Glenlivet Captain's Reserve, all kind of lined up together, and all bizarrely priced. The first time I was in, there was quite a price variation, and the Captain's Reserve was actually at £45, which seemed quite high. Who knows? But the Glenlivet 12 was cheaper than the Founders Reserve, but I wasn't tempted to pick any of them up at that time. But I might pick up a 12-year-old because I've got an old bottle of the 12-year-old before it disappeared downstairs, and it might be nice to compare the two. And James is saying, yes, stop buying Deanstons, more for the rest of us. Yeah, I do feel a wee bit like I'm kicking the backside out of Deanstons, right? But when you love something, and that's the thing about whiskey for me, it's the reason I started the channel, it's about sharing it. When you love something, you know, share it, talk about it, enthuse about it, evangelize, right? And Deanston still seems to deserve that. Sherry Malt is saying, it's because of you that I bought my first Deanston. Thank you for the amazing recommendation. Superb. I'm so glad that you're enjoying it. And Colours Blue Things is saying, you regularly open bottles live on the stream. Are there any unopened bottles that you're keeping for something special? I know what you mean. It's tough. I've always had this problem. I actually wrote an article on that. I called it open bottle syndrome, that I really can't hold my water. As soon as there's something that comes in the door, I'm popping the thing open and just pouring it and hopefully sharing it. And you know, that's just kind of what gets me. So it's tough for me to keep things sealed, absolutely. Whiskey Whistle and Mark in Canada, who's now finally back in his homeland in Canada, has also bought me a dram. Thank you, Mark, my friend. A coffee for you and Linwell in Spain. Café Cortado. Iced, perhaps. Well, perhaps, yes. But I like, especially early in the mornings, having those little short Café Cortados. It's like a Spanish espresso, but you get it with a bit of milk, topped up with milk con leche. And yes, nice, strong, bitter coffee in the morning. And he's saying, have a safe, exciting one. Well, I'm hoping for tranquility, if I'm honest, Mark. That if I could design the holiday nice, relaxed tranquility. But I'll settle for safe, absolutely. Sid Martin is saying, Aqvavitae, I got the new Glenlivet 12 for £20, reduced from 38. Yeah, I guess it's the similar thing. It wasn't £20. I think it was £28 in our local place. But I never bought it. I never picked it up. So let's now that this has been in the glass for 5 minutes or so, this little Glenburgie. Maybe it's on the back of the really light pineapple Glenmorangie I've just had, but this is a much more kind of bold nose on this than I remember from the last bottle. Yeah, it's kind of almost like you would imagine that there's a wee bit of sherry cask on in there, but I'm pretty sure that doesn't say anything on the label. I'm pretty sure this is all ex-bourbon. Yeah. Maybe it's just because of the Glenmorangie and cool water I was having before. Let's have a go. No, nice, malty. Yeah, definitely more spicy. Wow. See, I often find that with whiskies, when you try whiskies in contrast with other whiskies, you know, you can quickly change your opinion of some of them, just because drinking in contrast brings out other highlights and features and things that you didn't notice if you were drinking in isolation. I know I bang on about that quite a lot, but this is a much richer experience than I remember. Now, I did mention that especially with these kind of bottled under license from Gordon MacPhail, there is some batch variation in them. Most malt whiskies suffer from batch variation. It's just part of the landscape. But this does, and it might be that this is just a richer bottling than the last one. It actually looks a wee bit darker as well. But really nice for the price, and for a 10-year-old whiskey, really nice. Really nice. Tony Evans is saying, tranquility, you should stay in Scotland. Wow, Tony, wouldn't you know it? This year, the weather here has just been, I mean, it's beach weather here. Well, you know, relative to Scotland anyway. The weather's been fantastic all summer. We've only had very few cloudy, rainy days. As far back as April, I would say it's just been a wonderful summer. And the doc is saying, for tranquility, I strongly recommend the Highlands of Scotland. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I always used to say that. For years I've been saying that the trouble with Scotland is you're never ever guaranteed the weather. You just have to take the weather as it comes. And if you don't like the weather, just wait 10 minutes. That's kind of the changeability of the climate here. But if you get Scotland on a nice, bright, blue sky, calm, sunny day, and I know I'm biased, I live here, but I've been moved. I've been really, really moved by the conditions and the beauty of that landscape on those kind of days. It's like nothing else. It really is fabulous. Whiskey in the Six, Rob is saying he's drinking the Long Row Red Cab after tasting the Bunnahabhain 2003 PX. Wow. Very different. Both delicious. The peat adds some complexity. That PX Bunnahabhain, is that peated Bunnahabhain, Rob? Or is that just a unpeated 2003 PX cast strength? Yeah, so you're drinking, in contrast there, superb. And Jason is saying Skye rules. Skye is quite a moody place. Absolutely. Fantastic spot to go. It's a fantastic place to get lost. McAllen Fine Rare, not really. I was just excited and wanted to pop to Isla. I'm not a chill out kind of person. Yeah, when Eric was here, he buzzed around the place like a bumblebee. He managed to cover a lot of ground in just 2 weeks. I think I caught a live video from Eric just the other day, and he admitted that he's still kind of on a high from his trip to Scotland, which is fantastic to hear. Whiskey Sneerson, thank you so much. Buying me a dram from Canada. And he's saying, have a good vacation. Got to go. It was really nice to welcome you in, Whiskey Sneerson. I hope to welcome you in again. I'll be back here from 13th of September. And thank you very much for the farewell dram. Have a fantastic time, my friend. Thank you so much for joining. And Richie Z is saying, Aqvavitae on occasion, I find distinct similarities in single malts, particularly the wine cask finished ones. Again, drinking in contrast is a way to do that as well, where you see the things that link some of the whiskies, if that's what you mean, Richie. And wine cask finished ones. Yeah, do you know what? I've been actually noticing the opposite recently, where I first came into wine casks and this tastes like a wine cask, and it took me a while to get into them. I had to really quite invest a bit of time. But I've started to really enjoy wine cask finished whiskies. But I think I know exactly what you mean. And Rob is confirming that it isn't a peated Bunnahabhain. Okay, exactly, fantastic. And there's that. Let me know what you think about this. There's this. I always think that, if you're introducing somebody to a Scotch whisky landscape, if you're going to a tasting or if you're hosting a tasting or something, start with the lightest ones and build your way up, both in terms of flavor profile and ABV, if you can. And everybody gives that advice to keep the peaty, smoky ones till the end. But peat and smoke does not completely destroy anything that you have after that. It just changes it. It just makes it taste a bit different. And sometimes it's actually fun to have a peaty, smoky whiskey and then to go and sip something that isn't peaty and smoky after it. I really believe that. And I don't think there should be any rules. It's kind of more of a guidance thing, that kind of ABV and flavor profile thing, moving towards the peaty whiskies. Santa Cruz is in. Chris, fantastic to welcome you in again. Superb to see you again. I know it's very, very early in the day where you are. Glad to welcome you here. Whiskey Biker is here as well. Superb, my friend. I have the same thing with McAllen. He's saying, I like the 18 sherry cask on its own, but when I have a 12 sherry before it, I find the 18 far better. Well, exactly. If you want to know what lifts the 18-year-old versus the 12, have the 12 first. Must be preparing my palate in a specific way, I would say. Donner Pass Whiskey, nice to see you, my friend. Good to welcome you in. He's saying he's been drinking Deanston 12 and Altmore 12 together. I caught your comments about that. And you're saying it's a nice contrast, so they're working well together. I wonder, does that bring out the richness and the spiciness in the Deanston and bring out more of that kind of honeyed malt on the Altmore? just that, I mean, that's, I've never tried those in contrast, but that's, if I was to kind of imagine that's might be what's happening there. But of course, it can also almost do lots of odd things when you do that kind of thing. I wonder what everybody thinks about the thing that's happening with Scotch Trooper, by the way. Just want to throw that out there, and wonder if anybody wants to talk about that. I'd certainly like to bring it up. Jag is saying G&M's 15-year-old Linkwood is a nice summer whiskey. I agree. Quite sweet, quite okay most of the time. Nice summer whiskey, in my opinion. G&M have redesigned the range. I'd like to know how they have created 3 categories: bourbon, sherry, and peat. Yeah, I've yet to try. I've yet to engage with any of the new overhauled Gordon and MacPhail range. I see that they've done that. They've streamlined it. They've made it a bit less cluttered and complicated. But I still think that they're going to be doing their licensed bottlings, Jag. Daydreaming Andrew, fantastic. He's saying, good morning, Roy, good morning all. So Daydreaming Andrew is joining us from Australia. That's just amazing, isn't it? We've got Chris, Santa Cruz, and literally from Santa Cruz. He's joining us from California, the west coast of the US. We've got people from all over the UK and Europe, all over the rest of the US, people from all over the world. I'm just looking to see if my friend Raphael is in tonight. And we've got Andrew joining in from Australia. Modern technology is wonderful. Mikey is saying, yes, I'd like to hear your thoughts about the Scotch Trooper situation. Okay. And Vin is saying he's just watched the Scotch Trooper live stream. Damn shame that. I'd love to know who did it. Yeah. Well, I think the saddest thing about it was, there's Jonathan, and Meadmeal is in. Fantastic, Jonathan. Good to welcome you. I think the saddest thing about it is that, you know, you could say what you want about it. I mean, how those circumstances conspired to create that annoying and frustrating situation. But it's only annoying and frustrating for us. We all know that in Scotch Trooper, it's not a persona, it's not a team, it's not a thing, it's not a feed, it's not a company or a website. Scotch Trooper is a guy. It's a man. And he was given an opportunity to take his passion and something that he put together himself, and it was a kind of in a way that he never imagined, that he never envisaged what it could create. But he started with this, and I think his first post was a little Imaginext figure or a Lego figure or something, and it just went from there. So he was able to combine this photography, his love of Star Wars, and kind of collectible figures with his passion for whiskey. And we loved it. We lapped it up. And as he got more and more advanced, and he took sharper photos, and he spent more time crafting these pictures and posing. I mean, they were stop and stare images for me. Literally, they were not just like, oh, that's a cool picture. I would literally look at it and stare at it. And then once I got over how cool a picture it was, I would try to fathom the effort behind posing that, and then try to imagine how he achieved it, how he could make some of those figures posed like that. I remember one where he's got like a stormtrooper with a katana sword literally floating in midair. I mean, he must have suspended it or something somehow. But anyway, just amazing things to see and watch. And it was very, very successful, very popular. And he built up a huge kind of cult following on Instagram. And of course, that attracted the brands along. And that was all great for a while. But what happened is that it was so successful that opportunities were offered to Trooper. And we're talking about his passions here. So these opportunities were firmly pressing the buttons that excited him, his passion buttons, right? So of course he followed that track. And he ended up working with products, and where he was originally in a place that he was in control of his output, he was in full creative control of what he was putting together. As soon as that attracted the brands, he ended up kind of working with brands that perhaps wanted to apply their own ideas or whatever, and who knows. Regardless, it was still very, very successful, and we were still very much enjoying the output and the extra freedom and the extra productivity that being his focus and his drive, because he left his job, as I understand it. Can't quote me on that, but as I understand it, he left his day job to go and do this, which is an awesome thing to happen, right? Through whiskey, through serendipity, through new technology, through social media. So he makes this decision And then somebody decides that perhaps he's appealing to children and he's promoting whiskey consumption to kids. You know, not a consideration for context. No analytics going into who is actually consuming his content. Nothing like that. And they make a complaint. I believe it was to the Distilled Spirits Council in the States. And they obviously put out that concern to the brands, and the brands, in a litigious environment, nervous, jittery, whatever you want to say. Maybe it wasn't the people that were involved directly with Trooper, or it was people behind the scenes just saying, no, this isn't a good idea. Pull a parachute, boys. We come back to the fact that this is a guy we're talking about. It's somebody, it's a person, and it's suddenly his life. It's his job. But it's worse than that, because the creative content that he made by himself, the way I'm doing now, I'm holding up a brand night. I hold up brands regularly. I drop brands in the bin, and I give my opinion on these things. We all do. We're all allowed to do this. He did that originally, but before these partnerships were in place. And now, from what I understand, and I haven't spoken to him directly about this, and I don't understand all the nuances, but from what I understand, that even his creative, his own content is suddenly at risk. And that's a travesty. That's a disaster. Not by all the brands that he's ever worked with, but I guess the ones that have issued letters to him to say he has to stop. So the upshot of it all is, and the reason that I wanted to bring this up was less to dwell on it, because there's always opportunity in these things, right? And I know that people talk about silver linings and clouds and things like that. But really, I want somehow for it to be possible that he could take this blow and for it to somehow make him stronger, for him to come back stronger. So he, yesterday or today, I think, he started on Patreon, and I've been banging on about Patreon for long enough. You all know how awesome I think Patreon is, and how really, really strongly I feel, how impassioned I am about that concept of Patreon, the fact that it takes it away from manufacturers, from producers, from brands, the control, and it puts it firmly in the hands of the consumer. And then any kind of commentator that's supported from that direction rather than that direction is allowed to be much more free and objective and honest, because they're paid for by the consumer and not by whoever's making the product. And I'm not talking about whiskey here, I'm talking about anything. Or anybody that makes anything creatively and needs a sponsor, needs a patron. That's exactly what Patreon is for, and it encourages people to continue making content. And it costs you very little. I support more than a dozen channels myself. I love it. And I pay very, very little to each of those channels. But because of the amount of patrons that there are for each of these channels, they can actually get to the stage potentially where they can earn some decent money from it. It's fantastic. Trooper is now on Patreon. Maybe you're not on Patreon. Maybe Patreon is just a word that you hear and it passes you by. Consider it and let it settle on you, and consider how awesome a thing it is, not just for now, not just for YouTubers, for anybody who writes a song, who takes a photograph, who writes a poem, anybody that creates anything that moves people or people like, that there isn't an obvious way to buy and sell and add profit on it. People that need patronship. Consider that and support Scotch Trooper. And he can come back again, stronger. And we get to consume whatever he wants to create with the shackles completely removed. He can just create his own content exactly how he wants to. Bourbon Shenanigans Mike is saying, if kids were watching his stuff, the parents need to exactly... the parenting, of course. And I'm a parent, I've got young kids. It's hard to monitor what they're doing all the time. But it's a bit of growing up. It's a bit of letting them grow up as well. But I don't think for a minute that kids are looking at pictures of what he's putting together and being, ooh, they're thinking Star Wars. They're thinking, nobody's looking at it. No kids are looking at his stuff anyway. I mean, there'll be analytics that will report the demographics that's consuming his content. But they're looking at it and they're seeing a stormtrooper doing a cool thing or whatever. they don't even know what whiskey is. To young kids, whiskey is the same as beer, is the same as wine, is the same as something else that they're not interested in. Like it's as abhorrent to them as a really hot plate of spicy food is. But I understand that there's more to it than that, and I understand the concept and I understand the concern. But context is everything. Greg is saying, coming up here late, but thanks for doing a really interactive live stream as always, though. Cheers. Yeah, that's what I really wanted to try and achieve tonight. If I achieved nothing else, I wanted to be a wee bit more interactive than normal. Vin is saying, well said, Aqvavitae. I don't use Patreon to make money. I use it to improve my content and maintain the frequency. But don't limit yourself, Vin. Imagine a future where, you know, you can, you know, we're well received, we're getting better at what we do, whatever we do, whether we're on YouTube or whether, you know, whatever it is that we create or we make or we step up, whatever step out of our comfort zone that we've taken to do it, suddenly there's a platform out there that's not only going to encourage us to do that, but could potentially give us a revenue stream. And for so many people in the world now, people have been able to use Patreon literally to leave their jobs where they're less effective and to become maybe a bit more creative, maybe to become an artist, to make things. It's just an awesome, awesome platform. It really is. So yes, I hope that wasn't a rant. Jason at Malt Review is saying Patreon is freedom. Absolutely, it is. And the Whiskey Dictionary is saying, Bill, it's fantastic to welcome you in. I just noticed that you spotted in. I'm totally with Roy here. Patreon is great. Small amount of money helps creators out a lot. And we've all, you know, I have to be honest, we're kind of, a lot of us are in the wake of the Scottish Test Dummies, right? They're kind of the pioneers. They were the first guys to set up the live streams, even when they didn't know what they were doing or how to do it. And they were encouraging the rest of us to get on and do live streams and things. And we were a bit sleepy about it, but we did it. And they were kind of saying, everybody set up your Patreon, get Patreon on board. You know, you don't have to finance all of this yourself. This hobby doesn't have to be you forking out and forking out. You can recoup some of the funds, set up Patreon. And we were sleepy, and I was especially sleepy. But I did it this year, and I'm so glad I've done it. And it gives me a fantastic platform to connect with people in a much more private and intimate way, I think. Maybe I'm not succeeding yet, but I'll continue to try, than it would be just through kind of the social media platforms and YouTube comments or whatever. So yeah, absolutely. I think it is very, very cool. And another thing that the Scottish Test Dummies have been banging on about for us all to do, and we've been a bit sleepy about it, is to create these little souvenirs, these little tokens that everybody's getting so much fun out of, these little collectibles that they do, these ceramic poker chips, these coins, or as the dummies like to call it, these whiskey hats. Now, what we've seen recently is the Whiskey Vault has started to do coins as well. Fantastic. More recently, Scotch for Dummies have done ceramic coins as well, actually the exact same size and shape as these, and so has Trenny and C. Now, I have to go over a thing there because, again, I'm a bit late and a bit sleepy because the Scottish Test Dummies and other people are saying, you know, you should really have all of Whiskey Tube should have these ceramic coins, and people kind of collect them. And when they're having little tasting nights and flight sessions, they'll have a lineup of Glencairns with all these kind of different, whether it's a blog site, whether it's a reviewer or a YouTuber or whatever it is, can have these little ceramic coins and kind of start collecting them. I think that's a really cool idea. So I just need to go over, is Aqvavitae a brand? And I have to say, I think that's more my problem, because I'm sitting here in front of you just now, proudly, happy, comfortably wearing a Whiskey in the Six shirt. And I think it's cool. And I think it's nice when people say, what is Whiskey in the Six? And I get to tell them, and that's really cool as well. It's a community. That's what Whiskey in the Six is. Eric is saying, don't you think Whiskey Tubers need to take precautions, such as making statements, this program is intended only for adults? Eric, you're absolutely hitting the nail right on the head. Every single video that I put out there, well, I try to remember at least to state in the description, this is intended for adult consumption. The minimum age for alcohol consumption in your country But I think there needs to be a bigger statement than that, because we can't always rely on perhaps parents or whatever. We have to make it clear that the content that we're providing is adult. It's adult content, not adult content, adult content. It's intended for adults, for a mature audience, certainly for an audience that's of the legal age for drinking. And yes, there is a responsibility on us to remember that, and obviously to moderate the chat and try and monitor the chat and make sure the chat is clean and friendly and you're cultivating and encouraging a warm and friendly environment and things. But remember that there's two things. I think people should be comfortable to speak how they want in the chat, as long as they're not offending anyone or being rude or abusive. But this is an adult environment. I would like to think that because I'm going live at 10:15 at night in the UK and Europe, I'm not picking up a lot of underage viewers. But this is global. It doesn't recognize any borders or any time zones. So Eric, you're absolutely right. And we should probably say at the top of our streams, if we're so disciplined, this is going to be intended for an adult audience. If you're underage for alcohol consumption and where you live, please tune out now. Apologies. Mark is saying he'd love to have a coin. Do you mean an Aqvavitae coin? McCallum Finer Rare is saying you are not only a brand, you're a brand family. Yeah, I mean, I think that there is that kind of, and I think that's why I bought into the dummies thing. I mean, I wasn't really buying Scott and Bart. You know, I wasn't buying those guys. I was buying what they'd created. I was buying my membership into their community. And I think that that's what I need to remember. And I can't come on here and talk about community and how awesome it is, and then kind of be embarrassed to kind of recognize that because there's profit in this for us as well. That's the big draw, is that it's another way for us to recoup the cost of this. It's obvious to you guys how much money we must spend on whiskey. It's an expensive thing. And not all of us, in fact, very few of us would be doing that at that level if we didn't have a channel. But it's more than that. It's having a powerful enough computer to drive these streams, not just literally have this hangout call with you, but have a monitor here with pulling in another live stream and the monitoring software to make sure the stream is healthy and everything, to perhaps do screen shares and other things going on as well. So to have that PC to do that, to edit the videos and to render video takes a powerful PC. And all the lights, you wouldn't believe the amount of lights that's in this room, the camera, all of it. We would be doing it anyway, I'll admit, maybe not to that level or that scale, but with that community dynamic, with things like Patreon and with things like merchandise and that kind of thing, the quality goes up and gets better and better. And in my experience, most people don't mind paying if they can. And the ones that can't or don't want to, don't have to. The content is still free anyway. Okay. Mark is saying Aqvavitae, yes, definitely with your logo. Okay, I have Bill, as in Bill Dull, Aqvavitae greetings from the California border. That is Bill, the guy who you saw in that Isla video. Superb, Bill. It's nice to welcome you in. I know it's super early where you are, my friend. It's awesome to see your face in here. Kieran is saying I'm rarely commenting on his live chats, and one of the reasons I am now is that I was moved by Scotch Trooper. That means he's winning. Kieran, absolutely fantastic. And that's the thing, is to remember that all of us, we're just people in a room. We're just people in a house somewhere wanting to share whiskey in our own individual ways. And like I say, those ones that stepped out of their comfort zone to do it in the way that Scotch Trooper has. Yeah, I think it's... when something like that happens, and I was really, really moved. I found the Scotch Trooper stream on the 12 Hours of Boom on Saturday emotional. I found myself struggling to deal with it, because I could see it from the brand's perspective, where they've suddenly been reminded, they've been given a flashcard of danger, danger, this is using toys. And, you know, the brands have panicked and jammed on the handbrake immediately. But what was absolutely profound was the fact that this guy has been doing what he's been doing for a long time. And he didn't, as far as I'm aware, he didn't reach out to the brands came to him. And he's found himself in this situation through no design of his own, which is why I kind of felt like I need to bring this up. I need to talk about this. Tom R is saying, Roy, don't forget to take a coin on holiday and take some pictures. I will be taking one with me. One of these coins travels everywhere with me. Hoya, I've even got the only one that doesn't is the original one, because I think the original coins, there was only 100 of these originally. So this one stays here, and this is the one that's slightly slimmer and bigger than these three. But this is a cask 2 and 3. And look, a Patreon coin as well, which is awesome to have. But yeah, I think I would like to have an Aqvavitae coin just to see what it looks like and how it feels in my hand and things. And there is a redesign going on right now for the Aqvavitae logo, but I'll share more about that with you after the holidays. Bill Dull is saying your logo is classy. I'm just about to. Oh, I'm not going to ditch it. I'm not going to completely ditch it. It's just going to be like kind of revised a little. And Richie's saying your logo is circular, so would perfectly fit a whiskey coin. Yeah, that's right. I mean, most of the social media platforms demand a kind of circular format just now, so it fits. Richie, you're absolutely right. Whiskey Biker is saying the whisky.com DE videos have a small reminder disclaimer at the start and the end. Perhaps you can do a similar thing. Yeah, I think we all have to kind of realize that this has been a bit of a kind of a wake up and a reminder of us just to, while we're doing this, remember that we do have a responsibility out there in the wider community. Kieran has just bought me a dram. Kieran Ustari saying, hi Roy, I'm sending you this now because of Scotch Trooper. And I will do the same for him. He's winning. Fantastic. The easiest way, Kieran, for you and everybody else to support the guy is to just head over to Patreon. He's not got any content up yet. He's literally, perhaps not even 24 hours ago, launched his Patreon account. So it'll be very small. It'll just be a handful of people in there just now. Be one of the first to support Trooper. Be one of the originals. And send him a message as well on Patreon. Tell him that you're proud to support him and you're happy to support him because of how you've appreciated the art and creativity that he's been sharing with us over the last few years. Sherry Malt is saying, maybe you could do branded Aqvavitae glasses to wear. Etched Aqvavitae glasses, yes. Glasses that make the whiskey look better. Superb. What a wonderful stream. What a wonderful community. What a wonderful environment to be enjoying whiskey in. Colorless Blue Things is saying, Aqvavitae, I would buy an Aqvavitae t-shirt. Well, I'll have more about that after the summer as well. I said if I got 10 requests through for an Aqvavitae t-shirt, I would consider it. And I've had way more than that now. So it's down to my laziness and I have to do something about it. We've also got the ability, we've been invited over to Texas, and the guys, Rex and Daniel at the Whiskey Vault, sorry, Whiskey Tribe, the Whiskey Vault and the Whiskey Tribe, they've suggested that we can set up and do live streams and things from that event if we want to. They're going to try to make it easy for us to do that. But they also encourage us to bring and sell merchandise when we're there. And of course, the first thing I said as well, I don't really have any merchandise. And of course, the obvious question to that is, well, why not? So, yeah, it's underway, let's say. I'm going to try and do something. And it will mean that if I'm doing it for that event, there will be suddenly some things. But I want to try and make it nice. I want to make it nice things that people might actually like. Like I'm comfortably wearing this just now, and dummies for t-shirts from the dummies and things like that as well. Something that starts a conversation and you enjoy wearing. That's the idea anyway. I've just noticed that earlier on, somebody asked, Macallan Red Fine and Rare said, keep your logo, please. Well, what I'm going to do is that once the logo is at a point that I'm going to release it to apply it to things, I'm going to put it in I'm going to put it on Patreon and share it with my patrons and get some feedback. I've only shared it with one person so far, and based on the feedback I get from them, which has been kind of positive and constructive so far, I'll share it with patrons. I've just had a super chat in from, you guys are awesome. Amy's husband's wife has just sent me, well, that's not a dram. That could potentially pick me up a bottle to take on holiday with me, Amy. She's saying, enjoy your holiday with Lynn and the kids. You're awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Amy and George are probably up there with some of the, I mean, you're just fantastic supporters of this community. You really, really are. It's just awesome. Cheers to you, Amy and George. Thank you both very, very much. We will do our absolute damnedest to have a fantastic time on holiday. Donna Pass Whiskey saying, Aqvavitae, definitely use the whiskey evangelism statement. I will do. You might find it's already there, Donna. Simon is saying, up for a t-shirt. Superb. So, I mean, I want to hold my water until after the summer when I come back in September. But I'll kind of share little sneaks and things out on social media, perhaps in between times. Red Mordecai is saying, I want an Aqvavitae Glencairn glass. Also, being in Scotland, you can order some Aqvavitae special miniature bottlings, ? Certainly what I don't want to be doing is distributing alcohol. I don't want to be distributing whiskey. Although I will admit that I no longer have any bubble-wrapped packages around my office just now. This week, I was able to ship out the last of the packages that I generated. I ended up having to send out 30 plus packages from, I mean, not all of those were from Whiskey World Day or World Whiskey Day, but most of them were. And some other were just some samples and things that I owed to people, but they've all gone now. And the last of those went through the post office this week. I pray that they all get to their destination. I pray that they all get to you. And I'll mention, I know that some of you have received already and fed back to me, and that's fantastic. But some of the guys that are a bit further away might need to wait a wee bit longer. But yeah, generally, I'm always a bit nervous. And I read the guidance on shipping alcohol, and in the UK and Europe, it's okay if it's in small bottles and small quantities, it would seem. But there are some really, really strict guidelines, especially directly relating to the ABV and things like that. And shipping it outside of the UK and Europe is super, super tricky. You're looking at specialist shipping. Jason has also just bought me a double dram. Jason is saying, I feel like you must have been at the post office with me, Jason, when he was adding up all the cost of this shipping. He's saying to help with the shipping. Thank you very much, my friend. It's wonderful to have you around. And while I've got you handing in this super chat and I raise this glass to you, I've got a question for you, Jason Coates. Can you tell me what your logo is, your icon? It's always kind of looked to me a little bit like a snake's head, cropped, but I'm sure that's not what it is, and I'm sure I'm going to feel stupid when you tell me what it is, but I'm curious to know what your little icon is. Scott is saying, Kilted Moose is saying, Aqvavitae, talking of samples, I'm sipping on a Mortlach 15. Cheers, mate. No. Mortlach 15 is Gordon MacPhail, licensed bottling. Perhaps are you sipping on a Mortlach 16, Flora and Fauna? And he's saying no. Jason Coates is saying no, but one is headed my way, so it's the least I can do. Thank you very, very much. You're very welcome. It's just some artwork I did for an album cover way back. Awesome. I would love to see what the actual image is. I would love to see what the actual artwork is rather than the cropped circle. I've always been curious. I love Raster's icon, the one with the plane. It's a kind of Lake Buccaneer plane. He told me all about it. I love Welsh Toro's Spanish bull. icon as well. It's just nice to see, and it's nice to have that familiarity and see them in all the time. One of the other ideas I had, I've just had a wee look over at my list of what things I want to hit out, and I want to throw this at you. It's 104 of you watching right now, so I'm going to hit a decent audience. If you're quite happy and you're enjoying me, I'm at the 1 hour mark just now. Please give the video a wee thumbs up. It's the last video you're going to have till September. The last chance to give me a wee thumbs up until then. I hope I'm not banging this desk too much with this mic on the desk. I wanted to ask something. One of the ideas for a video creation that I've had for a long time now is a video relating directly to the whiskey community, to talk about all the bloggers that are out there, all the guys on social media, all the vloggers, all the guys that create content on YouTube. And of course, this audience that builds around that and these familiar names. And sometimes it can seem quite incestuous and quite small, but really, I think it's more to do with our ability to retain and recognize names and images, but it's actually really quite massive. And there's a huge amount of a silent community as well, people that watch and consume the content and enjoy the content, but perhaps don't, which is fine, they don't choose to interact with it. But I wanted to make a video about that, and it's still kind of taken shape in my mind, and it's been in my mind for a long, long time now. But one thing I'm going to need, and one thing I'm going to ask for, is if any of you want to do this, is to literally take your camera, your smartphone, whatever it may be, and look in that camera and say, my name is, and you can use your real name, you can use a handle, a username, a pseudonym, whatever you want to do. You don't need to use a name at all. You don't even need to say who you are. You could do it completely anonymously. And if you wanted it to be anonymous, I am happy and very keen to keep it anonymous. But straight to camera, just a 10-second segment, 15-second segment, give me what you get out of the whiskey community, what you like about it, or how you feel about it. I'm not looking for absolute glowing positivity everywhere. Just kind of what it means to you. And I would like to take some of those clips. You can either email them to me, email me a link for me to download them, or just say that you've done one and you don't know how to get it to me, and I will email you back a link that you can upload it to. And in time, I'm going to collect these and I'm going to put together, so you know the Magic of Isla video. So the idea is that I do a Magic of the Whiskey Community style video. That's kind of what I'm aiming towards. So I had this crazy idea that in much of the same way I tried to interview the people that were directly moved and affected by Isla while I was there, I can't really do a whiskey community video without having some input from the whiskey community. And rather than doing lengthy interviews, I thought it might be nice to have some kind of punchy feedback and some opportunity to those that are brave enough to put some faces to names and include you in a future production. I wonder how you feel about that. Bourbon Rye Scotch, fantastic to see you in. I think that's another new name. Maybe I've seen you before, actually, thinking about it. But he's saying Aqvavitae. Hi, Roy. How about a future Aqvavitae single cask bottling select? Good luck with that. Do you know how much single casks are now? Bottling selected by you, and then let a retailer like a Good Spirits come to distribute and sell it. I'm a minnow right now. I'm a super, super small. Ralphie's done that, and he's done it a couple of times now. He's done it with whiskey, and he's done it with gin even. But he's massive. You know, Ralphie's massive. Ralphie's iconic. If there was an opportunity for things like that somewhere down the line, yeah, that'd be awesome to participate in something like that. But I'm not there yet. I'm open to suggestions though. Ralph is saying, Whiskey Wolf is saying, Aqvavitae, really cool project. Awesome. That means that you might be in for it, up for it. And Eric is saying, are you referring to Whiskey Tube viewers only? Absolutely not. Eric, I'm talking about whiskey community. I'm talking about whiskey connectedness. And I think obviously because of the realm that I am in, you know, the place that the space that I occupy, it would probably end up leaning towards the whiskey tuber community, the YouTube community around whiskey. But that doesn't, I don't want any borders or limits to be put up there. If it's somebody coming in from Twitter that we know from Twitter or Instagram, or, you know, Mead Meal, for example, is in here tonight. He's got a blog. Jason is known for a blog. These kind of people, anybody that wants to either put a face to the name. I know that those guys have both appeared on video, of course, but a lot of them haven't. A lot of these bloggers haven't. Anybody that wants to put a face to a name, and just for me to be able to cut and crop and edit and make it as punchy as possible, and as long as I don't offend anyone by them cutting them up. And of course, depending on how many people that ended up in the video, if it was manageable, I would send it out to people first to make sure that they're okay with how I've cut it and things. But no, I don't want to limit it necessarily to YouTube, Eric, to answer your question. Scott is saying, yeah, I'm up for that. I knew you would be a big guy. That would be awesome because you've got a blog, and I could just film you. I could just meet up with you and film you, I guess. Superb. Andrew's saying, happy to do so, Roy. Have made a cameo before. Yes, you have. Superb. Daniel is saying, if you're a minnow, we are algae. Awesome, Daniel. Per Christensen is saying he's up for it. Fantastic, Per. Just wonderful. So all I'm asking is that you would just shoot just a few seconds a clip, and I can make a Dropbox folder where all this footage just goes into, and you just upload to Dropbox, Dropbox, or give me a link where I can download it and put it in the same folder. And then in time, when I've worked out the shape and form of that video, I can put it together. I'm excited. I'm glad. And Whiskey Wolf, Ebhead is saying, can I wear my pillow hat? You're pretty much guaranteed to get in the final video if you wear your pillow hat. Absolutely. Ryan Summers. Hey, Ryan, fantastic to see you. I am aware that I have an outstanding message to reply to you, my friend. I'll do it now, actually. You're asking about independent bottlings. I would suggest to you that independent bottlings, and I know this is probably difficult where you are, it's almost always try before you buy, because most of it is based around single cask, and no one bottling is going to be anything like the other one. It's going to be different from the other, let's say. That's more true to say that. But you can you buy. So yeah, go on word of mouth, ask the retailer for his input and things, tell him what you're enjoying at that point in time. But honestly, it has happened to me that I've bought something that I'm not happy with, and it's ended up being in the cabinets for longer than it should be there. But it's even then, it's still an education, and it still gives you another peg to put in your whiskey landscape map. So I would say, as long as you're not spending ridiculous money for super expensive stuff, sometimes it's worth just a wee gamble if you can't get to try it before. But obviously ask a question if it's possible to try, and then plan B is obviously, well, can you give me a summary of this? Would you rate it or something from whoever you're buying it from? But independent bottlings is a very natural progression, and something that you should absolutely try and enjoy exploring. Apologies that I didn't reply to you more recently, Ryan. I am just about keeping on top of the messages and replies, but sometimes it takes me a couple of days to get to them. I'm sorry, my friend. Tom is saying, edit me as much as you want. Total trust in your skills. Thanks, Tom. Awesome. James is saying, I'd be happy to get involved in that. To keep up the top work. Isla has set the bar high. It has, Gregor. And I mean, it might not be that style of video. It might not be a big, massive feature video. But it's something I wanted to do for a while, and I wondered how to tackle it. And this idea popped into my head. Sid Martin is saying, can we parody Scott's parody of the recycled reviews? Anything's possible. Absolutely. Parody a parody. Be fantastic. And Mark is saying, Mark J. Goins is saying, do a special Patreon where we all go in together on a cask. Anything is possible, Mark. It really is. Gregor is saying, maybe you should get closer to Dave Broom, because this is not far from his current project at Amber Light, you know, why people like whiskey, etc. Exactly. There's a team of people, and you can follow the Amber Light around various social media channels just now, where they're putting together this crowdsourced, crowdfunded, I think it's crowdfunded, right? Whiskey movie that they're trying to put together. Dave Broom was actually at Macallan this week. The Whiskey Rev sent me a picture, a selfie of him and Dave Broom standing together, where Dave Broom had taken his drumsticks to Macallan so that he could play drums on the casks. And Martin is saying that he would be up for it as well. It sounds like fun. Superb. Everyone is saying, I will think about it seriously. What time frame are you thinking for this project? You've got weeks, everyone, weeks, my friend, because I'm not probably going to get to this. Certainly not in any anger, not in editing in anger until I'm back on stream again in September time. So you can take your time thinking about it over August. And probably what I'll do is the stream in September when I'm back on 13th of September, just let people know how it's going and whether I need more content or if I've already got enough or whatever. Gregor's saying, I missed whatever the creative suggestion was to crowdsource, but I'm in like Flynn. I'm super charismatic, just like the platform. Awesome, Gregor. I know you'll be the Tim Burton to my Helena Bonham. Fantastic. So I'm talking about a whiskey community project where I make a video along a similar lines of the kind of magic of Isla, but talking about the magic of the whiskey community. And just have people doing kind of video selfies, short 10, 5, 15-second clips of saying, my name is, you don't need to say what your name is. You might want to use a pseudonym or a username, but you can just say what you get out of the whiskey community, how you feel about it. Just short and snappy. And I'll try and include as many of the succinct, punchy comments that I get in as I possibly can. That's kind of what I'm thinking about. Do we want to do the quiz tonight? It's already knocking on for 11 o'clock, so I'll probably have to make a hit on it. We're an hour and 10 minutes in, so we need to make a call on it. I got a lot of complaints. I got a lot of people saying, why no quiz last time? And it was because I had a guest here and we just kind of ended up chatting, and the feedback on that particular chat that night was to park the quiz for another night because they were enjoying the chat. So what I'm going to do is, in a few minutes from now, not right now, is consider booting up the quiz. If you tell me you don't want the quiz, we don't need to have it. But I think Eric is still in, and he might be up. I don't know. He might be up for taking the questions that he should have taken 2 weeks ago. What I did want to do tonight is, when we were talking about Patreon, is I wanted to, I had this idea that while I was doing live streams that I would shout out the Patreon supporters that had come on and started to support me. But what quickly worked out that I'd kind of lost touch with the ones that wanted to stay anonymous and the ones that were quite happy to have their name shouted out. So I felt a wee bit uncomfortable about that. But there have been a hell of a lot of you that have joined me recently. And I felt like I wanted to kind of just shout out and say a heartfelt thank you to every one of my patrons who's joined me and supported me and sent me messages about how happy they are to support what I'm doing. It's just kind of crazy, right? It's just very cool. It's very, very cool. And what I would like to start doing, if you're comfortable with it, is I would like to, from September forwards, catch up on all the patrons that I have and give them all a shout out. And then as new patrons join, use the live streams to say thank you to X for joining and supporting me on Patreon. But what I need to do on Patreon is find some way to make it obvious to you that if you want to remain anonymous, if you don't want your name mentioned, if you don't want to be credited at the end of a video, if you don't want a dedication, please tell me so that I can keep your name confidential. Yes. But honestly, a heartfelt thanks to, I mean, just as recently as today and over the weekend as well, I had new patrons coming in, and I do send you all a welcome message to say thank you so much for choosing to support. But I would also like your name to be mentioned on a live stream if you're comfortable with that as well. Finlay is saying, have you ever done your own whiskey blending? Yes, lots of it, Finlay. I do play, not always on a large scale. At a large scale, I mean bottle plus. But I tend to do a lot of blending in smaller bottles and in the glass. Isn't blending something light, delicate with a few drops of rich, smoky, peaty whiskey, despite it being borderline sacrilege? One of my favorite things to do is to try and create Brora. Brora is one of everybody's kind of legendary unicorn type whiskies. And the style of Brora is that rich, sweet, honey, barley sugar, Highland style with the peat smoke in the background, the kind of not heavy peat smoke, not like Isla peat. But I try and And the way I've been most successful was to use a cast strength Clynelish from Signatory Vintage, with a few teaspoons of a 1983 Kalila in there. And when I left it for long enough in a little kind of 10 cl bottle, I was able to make something approximating a Brora flavour profile, maybe not with the full engagement, but I was happy with it. And I called it Bogus Brora. So yeah, I like to do that. I like to do lots of those things. And sometimes, you know, see when I'm sitting doing a little flight and I've got 3 or 4 drams with just a little left in, I'll just throw them in the same glass and leave them for a bit and see how it tastes. Most of the time I ruin what's left, but not every dram from every bottle needs to be within an inch of its life. Give some of them up to experiment is kind of what I feel. Hoyt Hempel was, what format do you want it in? I don't care what the video format is, Hoyt. You can give me an MP4, you can give me an any format that your phone records. The only one that I have a problem with is the high efficiency Apple format. So if you've got a new Apple phone and it's HCEC, I think it is, so it's a kind of low, it's a very efficient way to store the files and for Apple hardware to process the files, but it's difficult for me to render it. I've just had a super chat and I think I need to catch up with the chat to catch it. Rob? What? I think have you given me 2 super chats tonight just because you're off for a few months and we'll all miss you? Okay, Rob, you're some kind of awesome guy. You've also reminded me to bring up the fact that I have just in the last week shipped Rob's blind challenge to him. Took me a few months to do that. Took me a wee while to do that because I had to work out how to do it because of the problem I have about shipping stuff into Canada, shipping alcohol into Canada. So I had to come up with a way to circumvent that and not end up getting in trouble for breaking the law, or perhaps worse than that, losing the whiskey to Canadians customs and the draconian customs legislation that they have there. But finally, we fathomed out a way for me to get 5 tiny drams into Canada, and hopefully I'm going to cross all my fingers that they make their way safely to you, my friend. Gregory saying he's a big fan of the Poor Man blends from the Whiskey Vault. Exactly. It's a really cool thing to do, and it's another way to just relax a wee bit about whiskey and understand that when you relax and chill out about whiskey, there's more fun to be shaken out of the stuff. It's really cool. And Gregory's saying share those recipes. Okay, buddy. So yeah, cast strength Clynelish from Signatory Vintage, and a wee bit of old Kalila. If you the peated stuff is used in such a small amount that it's less critical than the base malt. The base malt being Clynelish, obviously, if I was going for a Brora. Laura McGirt is saying, hello, Roy. I'm going to take the opportunity, Laura, now that I've seen you and it's very nice to see you here. And I just hope that I've actually got it. Laura sent me a letter that I've had here for a long time. And my idea was to start kind of some of these messages that I get on email or direct message or Patreon or YouTube or whatever it may be, to read some of them out because some of them can be quite cool. But Laura, I can't even remember what the subject was, Laura. This has been sitting here for so long. But she said, hello, my name is Laura McGirt. I've watched many of your YouTube videos and found them to be very informative and entertaining. Thank you very much, Laura. I try to catch you live as much as possible. Again, thank you, which isn't as often as I'd like. Darn work. I know it gets in the way of everything. The reason I'm contacting you is for some advice. I'm a member of a group of ladies who love Outlander and are either Scottish by blood or by heart. We are having a get-together in December, and I thought it would be nice to bring a small variety of the different types of Scotch for them to sample. She says, I'm still new to Scotch myself, and I'm asking you for some advice as to what some good choices to show the vast diversity of the wonderful world of Scotch whisky. Any help would be greatly appreciated. Laura, that's actually now a very easy one for me to answer because a while back I did a beginner whisky live stream, and the concept of it was to give people bookmarks on the Scotch whisky landscape rather than specific expressions. But I did give some examples as well. So you're going for a kind of light bourbon style maturation, you're going for a sherry style maturation and a peated style, because that gives 3 very different flavors for people to get hooks into. So even if they pick up the glass and all they smell and taste is whiskey, that's all they can get. At least in contrast, they're actually able to pick out differences. And that's what hooks people. The thing that you have to be careful of is ABV. Keep the ABV low, because when people, beginners and noobs, start to have to mess around with fussing with water and how much water to add to bring it down to a level that they can enjoy easily, if you're pouring cask strength stuff, it's off-putting in my experience. And if they taste high cask strength stuff as a newbie, it can be difficult. 40% is strong enough, 43%. If you have to creep up to 46, fine, but just have the water on hand and a teaspoon to load the whiskey, or even a wee pipette or drop or whatever you may have. There is a link, Laura, and if you remind me, I can send you a link where you can also listen to a radio show that I did with the BBC, and this was exactly the subject that I considered. I had to convince an Edinburgh dad who was a whiskey phobe and tried to convert him into a whiskey file. And that's the methodology I used, and the feedback I got that he is enjoying his whiskey, which is awesome, fantastic. Laura, it's fantastic to see you, and I'm very, very glad I was able to read out your wee message and spot that you were actually and be able to have caught you tonight. I know you've been in the past, and I've been in the past, and I've missed you. Let's just get another. Okay, the chat is jumping up and down. Let it catch up. Something's going wrong with my connection tonight. Amy is saying, leaving all of you with George. Have a great evening and enjoy your holiday. Amy, thank you so much. I will very much enjoy it. As you disappear, Amy, I'm going to say cheers to you. Thank you so much. And I'm going to pour another wee dram, something light and summery, still keeping the theme. This is a Balblair. The Balblair is wonderful whiskey, wonderful distillery, making great product and presenting it very, very well, also exactly as we want it to be presented. This, however, is on the theme of Gordon and MacPhail again. Another licensed bottling. This is the MacPhail's collection. This is a 21-year-old Balblair. And I know I hear you saying, oh, 21-year-old, but this was very good value. I think I paid about 70 or 75 pounds sterling for this, a 21-year-old whiskey, which again is just very, also Balblair as well as Gordon and MacPhail. Balblair is probably one of the best value malts out there. But this is very light, very light. One of my pleasures in life and whiskey reviewing was watching Foodquig review this. I sent a sample of this to Foodquig, and I was enjoying this already. But when he dissected this, when he took this whiskey and pulled it apart in the way that only Foodquig can do, it's quite fascinating. It really, really is fascinating. I was moved, and I was in Spain when I watched that video, when I watched him do that. I couldn't wait to get home to pour one of these, and I watched the video again, and I sipped this with him dissecting it, and it was an absolute pleasure what that guy was able to unlock in this whiskey for me. Fabulous. I mean, it smells musty and dank and old, like it's ridiculous, but it smells wet and dry at the same time, like dusty and dusky, and mulchy and damp. It's an odd thing. But the pineapple's there, the fruit's there, the creaminess, the like a sugar sprinkled short crust pastry or shortbread thing going on as well, like a Danish pastry. Seriously, fantastic. I've just had another super chat, and if I recognize that face, if I scroll down, it's from my buddy Bill. Summertime dram for you. The family is in Oregon for the next 3 weeks. Fantastic. One day I'm going to join you there, buddy. Hope you and yours can join us in the future. Absolutely, as I've just said. Lots of distillers in Oregon. Fantastic. Bill, thank you very, very much. I raise this Balblair 21-year-old to you, and I hope that you, Christine, the kids have a fantastic holiday. You're a star, my friend. Thank you so much. Scott is saying, Aqvavitae, got to go, up early for work. I'm up early for a flight too, buddy. Although not as early as you. Have a wonderful holiday, and maybe we can hook up for a few drams over the summer. It would be my pleasure, Scott. It was wonderful to hook up with you and Roy a couple of weeks ago. That was an awesome wee night out that we had, and I would love to do that again. Would love to. Although I did have a wee bit of a muddy head on the Saturday morning, if I'm honest. Richie G is saying, Roy, have you tried the young Wolfburn scotches, and do you like them? Yes, I've tried a couple of them, and they're good. And I think the spirit that Wolfburn are making is pretty good. But I think all the whiskey that they've put out so far that's their own is still a bit youthful, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with young whiskey. But people need to know that when they're buying it, it is quite a youthful spirit. Now, the Scotch 4 Dummies really love Wolfburn, and they've really connected with it, and they've really loved it. So remember that the opinion I'm giving you, that it's still quite youthful, and you know, there's some acetone in there, and there's some kind of lots of bright chemical lemon type notes and things. And even in the peated version, those come through as you would expect with a very young spirit. Honestly, that's just something that you have to know going in. Again, it's a try before you buy, if at all possible. But it's not expensive in most scenarios, in my experience anyway. So it's okay to take a risk on it and just to have that in your cabinet. That's what I did. And I quite like having it there. I don't mind it, but it's a wee bit young. John Belushi is saying, you lucky magnificent bastards, but it was hidden. I'm just going to show that because I know exactly what he's talking about. He's magnificent bastards being the Whiskey Tribe. Fantastic. So yes, I loved absolutely Foodquig a debt for doubling the value of this whiskey for me. And that's one of the great things about YouTube is a medium for sharing whiskey, is that you can just sit quietly when you're on your own and pull up a review and sip along. You know, search for whatever whiskey you're drinking and sip along with the reviewer. And it's quite amazing how much commonality, how much similarity you get and you pull out of the whiskey. But what Foodquig is sublime. I mean, quiet night, everybody's in bed. If Foodquig's reviewed something, it's a treat, okay? Just measure your heart rate before you switch the video on. Do a Foodquig video, pour along, sip along. Measure your heart rate after you've sipped along with Foodquig. And I just ask you to do it. Just do it. Superb. So I've not got Jason Whiskey Wise to help me tonight. I'm thinking of foregoing the quiz. I'm thinking of just not bothering unless you come bounding out of the traps and absolutely demand it. Got 81 watching now. Been on for a while. Numbers are starting to drip. I'm an hour and a half in. Up early for my holiday in the morning. DH Silv, fantastic to see you in as well. You're the guy who, I believe, are you the guy that named Make America Peated again? It's fantastic to welcome you in here, Silv. Super to see you. He's saying, preach Aqvavitae, drinking along is truly wonderful. It really, really is. And I think it's one of the things that YouTube has as an advantage, that you can actually do that with that video medium. Gregor is saying, Balblair 21, Gordon MacPhail sounds good. It really is good. It's wonderful, but it's very subtle. Connor is saying quiz, of course. A student Connor definitely, I would imagine, wants a quiz. Kieran is saying he's from the south coast of England. I heard there's some good sparkling wine here. He's asking Eric, wait, Eric's the right guy to ask. There are a few people starting to ask for the quiz. The doc is asking for the quiz. James Hope, Mead Mule, Tom R. I have to wake up. He's saying I have to wake up at 5 a.m. as well. Your 5 a.m. is a wee bit later than my 5 a.m. I understand what you're saying, though, so Tom. He's good with me getting more sleep. Foodquig video while drinking, yes. Ed4OG, that's a new name as well. Fantastic to welcome you in, Ed. John Belushi saying, if you're lonely and friendless, this is an amazing resource for our community and friendship. I can speak from personal experience. You guys are wonderful. Well, that's a kind of bittersweet statement, because I know it's tongue in cheek, John, but there's an honesty there. And what I've found is that you know, I've got friends and we like to get together and we like to drink whiskey when we get together, but it doesn't happen very often. And as I get older, the friends are less and less, and it's not because they're dying or disappearing, or it's just that other things get in the way, family life and demands from and time. Your time becomes more and more precious, and I think I'm at the most acute right now for that kind of dynamic. Per has just bought me a fantastic dram. He's saying, get a good dram in Spain, and I'm going to miss your videos on YouTube. Per, that's a wonderful, wonderful thing to read, and it's a wonderful contribution from you, my friend. Thank you so much. That's fantastic. Cheers, Per. I'll miss you too. John has gone on to say he's being serious. I live in a place that I don't know anyone. Been here for 4 years, like the Twilight Zone. It's rather depressing. And again, there is that bittersweet element there. And I often, you know, I often talk to my wife about this, about how I mentioned at the start of this stream that the Whiskey Rev and I got together at a very good time where we could accelerate our geekiness and just explore whiskey together. And when he moved off, I remember that there was, I'm not going to suggest there was grief. It's not like he's disappeared, but the weekly whiskey thing isn't happening anymore. And wouldn't you know, as he disappeared, you know, the opportunity to start live streaming came up. And I got to meet up with the Rev just recently. We spent we met up in the Highlands together, and the two families had some dinner together. It was a fantastic day and a fantastic wee dinner. Nice to meet them as well again. And we talked about this, and he said, you know, do you think Whiskey Wednesday would still be happening if I was still down in Glasgow, everything you've got on? And I said, well, absolutely it would. The live streams are only every other week. What might have happened is the Whiskey Wednesday might have dropped to every other week, but they still would have happened. Sharing whiskey is a fantastic thing to do. If you can get together with your friends and you can share whiskey with your friends, even if they're friends that don't drink whiskey yet, come on, get your evangelism on. Show them what whiskey does to you. Show them what it means. Show them how it can connect and make you know what it is to be alive. But if you can't, YouTube and the online community is a fantastic way to enjoy and share whiskey. And I think that's what you're getting at, John. Thank you very much. Daniel is saying it looks like he's back and he's finally done his work. Good job, Daniel. But need to get some whiskey at the store. You still up in Moose Jaw? You still up in the sticks? Whiskey evangelism, exactly, John. Everybody can do their own evangelizing. Okay. I've only got one more thing to mention. After I've mentioned that, everybody can shoot off in their own direction. You can all just pull a parachute and go off to your beds, go off to your loved ones, do whatever you need to do, and I'll see you after the summer. But for the ones that want to stay for the quiz, I will stay here and I'll rattle through and do a quick quiz for everyone, for all the guys that enjoy doing that and having a bit of fun. And I'll stay and pour one more dram. I've got a Port Charlotte cognac cask that I'll pour and do the quiz. But the last thing I want to share with you is brands don't reach out to me. I don't reach out to brands. Brands may reach out to me in the future. And I'll say thank you very, very much. Is it something that you would be reaching out to normal people for? Is it something I can pay for myself? I don't really want to be engaging with brands in that way. But I think the reason that brands are not reaching out to me very often or at all, to be honest with you just now, is that I don't review whiskies, or I'm seen to not review whiskies. And that's true. I don't traditionally review whiskies. But I've put out 5 recycled reviews now, and that's 5 times 15, which is 75 expressions where I have cast an opinion as I dropped the glass into the bin and said goodbye. So what I decided to do was find a way to leverage that for everyone. rather than them having to sit through and try and remember what I've said about whiskey, I've put together a spreadsheet. And over the summer, I'm going to work with that spreadsheet. That spreadsheet has been shared with my patrons only just now. And it lists every single expression that I've reviewed, and it gives details about it, and it gives a score. But the really cool thing about it is that when you click on the link, that link takes you to that exact section in the video, the exact moment where I start to talk about that specific expression. So let's imagine that on your phone, on your browser, or somewhere on your phone, you had saved or bookmarked that little spreadsheet. You could literally be in the shop and you could pull up that bookmark and click on that link. You don't need to watch through the whole video. It takes you exactly to the few seconds that I speak about that exact expression. And there's 75 expressions there already. And each time I put out a recycled review, there'll be another 15 added. That's done. Over the summer, I'm going to rejuvenate and try to bring back to life. I'm not going to make any promises here, but it is my intention. I'm going to try to bring back to life the Aqvavitae website. Aqvavitae website is something that I started out doing before I realized that what I really wanted to do was YouTube. And it's just been kind of ignored, and it's been left to kind of, it really needs a good drink of water thrown over it to bring it back to life. And if I achieve that, that's where that spreadsheet will be shared, and it gives me an opportunity to keep it up to date. Do you care about that? Do you think it's a good idea? Is it something that you would use? To be honest with you, I'm going to do it anyway, regardless of the feedback I get just now. It's just something that I feel like it's a good way for me to track what I'm saying about these whiskies. And another curious little dynamic that I've thrown in there as well is that there's a changed my mind column. People really hang a lot on the score, and if you're committed, this is a 7 out of 10, this is an 8 out of 10, 7.5, 8.5, whatever. For me, I'm just kind of grabbing and pulling out representative scores from the sky. And sometimes when I look back over the recycled reviews, especially with things like the Glenkinchie 12 and things like that, I look at it and I go, damn, I'm really enjoying that Glenkinchie 12 now. I was a wee bit silly. I was a wee bit rash. I was a wee bit harsh. Or maybe I wasn't harsh enough on other expressions. So I've put in there a changed my mind column where I up my scores and drop my scores. I know it's going to frustrate the hell out of some of you, but that's just the nature of whiskey, and specifically the nature of people and whiskey and the whiskey journey, and how the relationship with expressions change and how the expressions themselves change over time. That's why I've put that little fun tongue-in-cheek dynamic in there. The recycled reviews, the whole concept is tongue-in-cheek anyway. But people enjoy it. People seem to find it fun. George Kaplan's saying, great idea, Roy. I would use it, but probably won't see the bottles you find. Flora and fauna as an example. Yeah, flora and fauna is a disaster, George. In terms of international distribution, it's a shame. But yeah, and that's going to happen. And I know that when people are watching my content, there's going to be a significant proportion of the bottles that I drop, or the bottles that I talk about generally, perhaps like this, that might be tougher for you to get your hands on. Again, this Glenburgie that I started with earlier too. But you might just happen upon it. Maybe you're traveling through international airports or something like that, or maybe you get the opportunity to drop into a specialist retailer somewhere. And it's nice to just have that wider knowledge of a lot of the distilleries that are represented out there, and not through official brands and high volume brands, mass market brands, that type of thing. Sherry Malt is saying, what a fantastic idea. I love to watch a review while I'm in a shop. Perfect, Sherry Malt. So that just takes you exactly to the specific expression. And Aqvavitae, cool. John, it made me saying, I was hoping you'd do more on your website. Been meaning to ask if you were going to. Yeah, I'm going to revive it. It's sitting there, and I need to just kind of, it's a time issue, honestly. But I realized that I'm missing something fundamental there. Gregor is saying, I'm sad to be that guy that wrote down your ratings on my to-buy list. Gregor, I'll be honest with you. You're not that guy. You're one of the guys. The reason that I did this was the feedback I got from the community saying, wouldn't it be nice if you could kind of write your scores and things in the description so we can just quickly check it and things. And I thought, oh yeah, I could do that. What I do in the description box underneath is I link to lots of other reviews, other YouTubers, other blog posts, other reviews that have done full reviews on what I'm throwing in the recycling bin. So I thought I could do that, but I wanted to switch it up. I wanted to do something different. And that's what I came up with. And Whiskey Wolf was saying, probably not going to use it, but I loved it anyway. Thank you, buddy. And Whiskey in the Six is saying, my thoughts exactly. Love the column. Are you talking about the changed my mind column? If anybody ever tries to score whiskies and then try and stay consistent and loyal to those scores as your whiskey journey develops and as the whiskey changes, they'll understand what I'm talking about. George is saying, I'll be in Belgium in late August. You'll get Flora and Fauna in Belgium, George. Already working out some bottle swaps with a few Instagrammers. Perfect for things I can't get otherwise. And same for them as well. Superb. I can imagine that you're going to have to book extra weight in your luggage. Okay. I think I'm done with the subjects tonight. Again, it's gone super fast tonight. Loving hanging out with you guys again. Covered that, covered this, covered everything. I think we're in good shape for me to pour a Port Charlotte. So the guys that don't want to join and participate in the quiz, it's okay for you to call an Uber and take a wee ride home now. I understand, and it offends me not in the slightest. Wonderful to hang out with everybody so far. For anybody that's leaving now, thank you everyone for your generous support and donations, both in here in Super Chat tonight and my awesome team of Patreon supporters as well. I honestly am not over-egging, gilding the lily or pissing about when I say that I'm going to miss hanging out with you guys over the next couple of months. But I will be back here on the 13th of September, and I hope to welcome you all there. George Kaplan is, Eric Gilbert is saying, I used to use the website. Yeah, nobody's using it now, Eric, just because I'm simply not putting any valuable content on there anymore. The legacy articles are on there, but they were all written a year and a half ago now. And Razvan is saying, take care, Aqvavitae, enjoy your holiday. For those of you that do want to hang about and answer these 10 questions for bragging rights, for fun, for whatever, before we disappear, let's do that. And I'll share that with you. Please remember that these questions, I haven't even revised these questions, so they might be a wee bit odd. We'll just need to wing it and just go with it. These are the questions that I was going to give to Eric when he was here. So Eric, if you watch this on the replay, if you're not in here now, I would love to hear how you scored, because I know you'll be honest. Okay, let's find my mouse. Let's start to drive this thing. I believe that these are all multiple choice questions. Let's start this quiz going. Mark is asking, do you plan streaming from Austin? Yes, I do. I would like to, if at all possible, Mark, if I can get the hardware to work and if I can get bandwidth and space and time to do it, absolutely. Would love to. Okay, question 1. What is Isla's largest malt distillery in terms of litres per annum? So what is the largest distillery on Isla in terms of the volume produced in terms of litres of alcohol per annum? Multiple choice. Is it A, Bunnahabhain, B, Laphroaig, or C, Colilla? So everyone, just throw your questions in. It's all been thrown in already. I can see that. Everybody's throwing in the answer before they even saw the A, B, and C, I would imagine. Good stuff. I'd be curious to see just how much the watch level drops now from the 7 to 8, just to see how many people aren't interested in the quiz, because I realise that it's quite divisive, that lots of people like to enjoy the quiz, but there are a lot of people that's not really their thing, and I completely understand that. Everybody is saying, Welsh is saying Colilla, Connor Sang is saying Colilla, straight out the traps very early on. George Kaplan is saying C, which is, they're also saying Colilla. Has a vegetable kind of taste that is unique. JJ MyTube1, that's a new name. Nice to welcome you in. Fantastic. Are you talking about Bowmore or Colilla? Danny is saying Bowmore. Bowmore is a big producer. Mashburn is saying C. Everybody seems to think it's Colilla. So keep your own scores, guys. If you have answered that it is indeed Colilla, give yourself a point. Kalila at 6.5 million litres per annum is the biggest producer on Islay. Bigger than Bunnahabhain considerably, a bit bigger than Lefroy, and even bigger than Bamore. Now, what I find amazing about that, and I think that one of the reasons I love Kalila, I had Kalila here for a live with Swami the other day. I must have taken it back downstairs. Kalila does all the heavy lifting for Islay whiskey. Kalila is the factory on Islay. And if it wasn't for Kalila, there would be so much more pressure on Lagavulin for a start, but lots of other Islay distilleries, so that they were able to focus less on producing and fulfilling demand for single malt. The importance that Kalila plays on that little island off the west coast of Scotland cannot be overstated. And in fact, because of that, some people think that Kalila is some kind of industrial spirit, that it's kind of churned and it's just Kalila. Just try it blind. Sip it blind alongside so many other things. And even if it's not better than what you're sipping it along blind with, the blind tasting in itself will show you how well crafted and how good a spirit Kalila actually can be. Okay, let's skip on to the next question. Which of these distilleries sorry, I should have checked in some of your comments there. I've been distracted by the comments as it popped in. Which of these distilleries still feature in-house floor maltings? Okay, I know that you can't answer until these are revealed to you, so I'll reveal them now. Is it A, Lagavulin, B, Kilchoman, or C, Bunnahabhain? Only one of those three still feature in-house floor maltings. A, Lagavulin, B, Kilchoman, or C, Bunnahabhain. Which is it? Whiskey Jason, you awesome guy. You awesome guy. He's got the line, he's doing the other Jason thing. Let me see if I can make my computer catch up here. My wee computer needs a bit of a health check, if I'm honest. Thank you, Jason, for that. Everybody started to answer. James Hope is saying B, Whiskey Jason, B. Mark Goins, B. Eric Waite is saying Kilchoman, Whiskey Biker, B, Kilchoman. Mashburn is saying C. Mr. GU82, fantastic, another new name. Good to welcome you in. Thanks for participating in the quiz. He's saying B. Eric Gilbert is saying B. Perkins is saying B. B. Everybody seems to think it's B, bar very, very few of you. Let's see. Floor maltings are still a feature in, yeah, and Eric was still there, was actually there, and he could see it. It was Kilchoman. They produce about, I think it's about 20% of the requirement in their in-house floor maltings, and their in-house ppm level, the phenols level, is about 20 to 30 ppm, whereas the majority of the malt that they get in is from Port Ellen, and tends to be much higher, up to 50 ppm phenols. Speaking of phenols, it's time to get my peat on. As I ask the next question. Susan Ward, good to see you, Susan. She's also answered B. Like I say, give yourself a point if you answered B for Kilchoman, which I think the vast majority of you did, except for Danny, who answered D. Well done, Dan. Superb. Okay, next question. Bruichladdich features a Lomond still for gin production. What's its name? Bruichladdich features a Lomond still for gin production. Now, a Lomond still is a hybrid still that's kind of a cross between a pot still and a column still. And one of these is used for gin production at Bruichladdich. Is it called the Wee Witchy, Ugly Betty, or Big Bertha? Wee Witchy, A, B, Ugly Betty, or C, Big Bertha? What is the Lomond still at Bruichladdich called? Eric is in, so this is a fantastic thing. We'll actually get to see how much Eric would have scored if he'd participated in the quiz while he was here. I really loved this when I sampled this. When I bought a bottle of it and I opened the tight bottle. This is the Port Charlotte 2007 CCO1, which is cognac cask Port Charlotte. Heavily peated, obviously being a Port Charlotte. When I first opened it, really didn't like it. I kind of thought, damn. But I'm glad I invested a bit of time in it because it really came alive and it gets better and better each time I have it. Still gets, I don't want to say the note that the off-putting note that I get in this, I get it every time, and I don't want to mention it because if I put it in your head, it's a negative note. I don't mind it. I quite like it. It brings a bit of character, but it could potentially ruin the dram for you. If you want to make a direct message and ask me what it is, I'll tell you what it is. And it's not a terrible thing. Like so many flavors in whiskey, right? Some of them seem a bit odd, but you know, in whiskey they seem nice and engaging. Okay, wee witchy is Mortlach, Hoyt is saying. Okay, well, the Loman still at Bruichladdich is called, yes, absolutely, like so many of you said, Ugly Betty B, which if Bruichladdich keep on the trajectories that they're running now, their gin production could match or surpass their malt whiskey production. Quite unbelievable. So successful has that botanist gin been, and so delicious is it, that it may actually surpass their whiskey production. Now, I think that's in terms of volume, of litres, rather than actually value. The malt whiskey is still very, very high in terms of value. They're not going to lose focus or change their business plan or anything like that. But in terms of litres produced, it's been very, very successful for them. Very cool, in fact. Okay, the next one is a picture. I hope you can see this okay. I just want you to tell me the obvious thing. Where is this? What distillery is this? Eric, wait, I am watching you very, very specifically. What distillery is this? I'm going to leave this up there while I chat. And take a slip and a slush and a chew of this Port Charlotte. Tom R is asking, any chance you would have Rosemary Moon as a guest on your show in the future? I really enjoy her views as well as yours. Thank you very much for that, Tom. Well, Rosemary Moon, I don't even know where she is. I think she's English, isn't she? I think she's the reviewer. She occasionally reviews whiskey and things, but I think she also does food. I think a while back I've used a couple of I've watched a couple of her reviews. Eric Waite has just shouted in Aqvavitae, that is my photo. Absolutely, Eric, it's your photo. So it should help you in telling us where that is. Let's see who's answering. Whiskey Biker is saying Cardew. Let's see, Tom R is saying Cardew. Good for you, Tom. Okay, here's the three choices. A, is it Cardew? Is it B, Glenfarclas? Or is it C, Cragganmore? Throw your answers in, folks. I think the rabbit has been let out the trap already. There were coups right behind me, Eric is saying. Healing coups, Eric, were they? Connor is saying Lagavulin. Per Christensen is saying Cardew. Hoyt is saying Cardew. Welsh is saying it is Cardew. Martin is saying Cardew. Razvan is smiling. He said Glendronach earlier on, so he's probably having a smile at himself. And of course, given that Eric took the photo, question 4 is indeed the picture that you're seeing is Cardew. Fantastic. So that was a picture sent to me when Eric was in full-on smug mode and he was enjoying the Highlands and the sunshine, and he was sending down, sharing images and videos and things of where he was while he was up there. Gregor is saying, I'm so stupid, didn't wait for the 3 solutions. It's not your fault, Gregor. I was deliberately late because I wanted to see if Eric would actually remember that he took a picture and where from. It's a bit cruel. Okay, this is a bit out there, this question. I apologise in advance, but those who know it, just know it. Okay. What enterprise relies on honesty donations at Kildalton Cross? Is it a site preservation enterprise? Is it a tours and sightseeing advice enterprise? Or is it a cafe enterprise? Now, this enterprise relies on donations. So A, site preservation, B, tours and sightseeing advice, or C, a cafe. Specifically, what I'm looking for here is honesty donations. So theoretically, you could just take from this enterprise, but it relies on honesty. And of course, most people don't take. Most people partake, and they pay, and they enjoy. Lots of people coming in. Eric Waite is saying Ardbeg. AJ is saying C. Whiskey Jason C. Eric Gilbert is saying A. James Hope is saying Cafe. Bourbon Rye Scotch C. Per Christensen V. Tony Evans C. Per Christensen C is actually corrected himself. Martin is saying C. Westy Wolf A. McCallum Final Rare A. Terry Dolan. Okay, I need to talk to you about this because it's a very, very cool thing. If you go along the road from Port Ellen out past the distilleries, you pass Lafroig, you pass Lagavulin, you eventually arrive at Ardbeg, carry on past Ardbeg, and you come to the Kildalton Cross. And everybody will recognise the Celtic Cross of Kildalton because it's appeared in so many pictures. If you're into whiskey, if you're into Islay whiskey, into Ardbeg, you'll know the Kildalton Cross. Beyond that, there's a little turning point in a car park with a picnic bench at it and some nice views. If you climb up onto the kind of hilltop there, you can see some nice views over the sea and things. But there's a huge box there full of stuff. And there's an honesty box next to it. And you just take the stuff and you put your money in the honesty box. And it's just so typically Islay. And in fact, it is the Kildalton Cafe. Tongue in cheek, it's known as the Kildalton Cafe. And it's just a box full of pastries, baked goods, cakes made locally that's put out there for you to help yourself to, and you leave money in a box. Just love it. Absolutely love it in concept, and I love how it just demonstrates Islay. Like I say, Jason Coates is saying he usually overpays. I know that's the thing. It's the kind of absurd dynamic that's going there. You're just blown away by how cool it is that you're like, how much is this? Oh, I'll leave a $5 or whatever. Eric Waite is saying, I visited the site. I'll share my pictures when I do my video. If I recall correctly, I think it is from the 8th century. That's the Kildalton Cross that you're talking about, Eric. Yeah. I'm not sure which century it is actually, but I think you could be right. Gregor is saying a fantastic idea they have. Yeah, I wonder how many times people go out there to just kind of pick up. I guess the problem comes is when that money box becomes laden, or there's a lot of money in it when it's quite busy, right? Anyway, let's move on to question 6. Question 6 is, the first transatlantic telephone line was connected from the US to which distillery town? Now, this is kind of roughly, more or less, which distillery town. You're not going to confuse it with any others. Which transatlantic telephone line was connected from the US to which distillery town? Was it Oban, Tobermory, or Bamore? A, Oban, B, Tobermory, C, Bamore. It was the first transatlantic telephone line landed at A, Oban, B, Tobermory, or C, Bamore. Now, obviously, you can see where I'm going there. It's obviously going to be West Coast. But where was it specifically? Whiskey Jason, thank you so much for putting the line in there and saying, McAllen Finarera is saying Oban. James Hope is guessing Oban. Eric is saying the bigger danger is sheep coming along and eating it this year, the Kildalton Cafe, yeah. Per is saying A. I think that's Oban, right? A Willie Doley, or Willie, fantastic to see you in, my friend. Super to have you. He's saying Oban as well. Willie, you're not far away from Oban. I know it's one of your favourite spots to go. A Whiskey Jason, A. Meadmeal, A. Mashburn, A. Eric Gilbert, A. Everybody's saying A. John Paul Vanderhoven thinks it's B. McCallum Finarela Doc is saying Oban again. Everybody seems to think it's Oban, bar very, very few of you are going for a B. Okay, let's see. So the first transatlantic telephone line ran from the US to Oban. Absolutely. It's just just a bit south of the Oban distillery, as far as I understand. So if you answered A, give yourself a point. And after 6 questions, with I guess 4 more to go, throw in your scores. Tell me where you are score-wise. Cherry Malt is saying, when I went to a hotel in London, there was an honesty bar. I overpaid for a Glenmorangie. See, I think things like that potentially bring out the best in normal humans. If you're a normal human who understands and kind of likes the idea of being honest and paying your dues and being part of the human race, I think it's a wonderful thing. Tom, 6 out of 6. Seriously, big guy, superb. Per, 6 out of 6. Damn it, I'm making it too easy. James Hope has lost 1. He's saying 5 out of 6. Guess the picture before the options. James, you're so honest. Whiskey Biker, 5 out of 6. Hot Hempel, 5 out of 6. Whiskey Wolf, 5 out of 6. Okay, Martin is saying 5 out of 6 because he said V. No, he did correct himself quite quickly, and he said C quickly. After it's C and V close to each other. Yeah, they're right next to each other on the keyboard. Of course they are. Copy and paste. Okay, let's get on to question 7. Which Highland distillery was once known as Burnfoot? Which Highland distillery was once known as Burnfoot? I'm pretty confident Eric could answer this without seeing the options, but the options are going up. A for Glengoyne, B for Deanston, and C for Glenmorangie. Which Highland distillery, before they were known by what they're known nowadays, it was known as Burnfoot. A for Glengoyne, B for Deanston, and C for Glenmorangie. Let's see how they come in. Eric is saying Glengoyne. Whiskey Wolf is saying Glengoyne. James Hope, Glengoyne. Everyone is saying A. Either you're following each other and you're going to all run off a cliff like lemmings, or you're all telling me that my questions are becoming too easy, or you're becoming far too whiskey knowledgeable. Of course, what we need is the Whiskey Rev back. His questions are painful. Okay. The Highland Distillery, once known as Burnfoot, was in fact Glengoyne. The spelling was once different. It was spelled, Glengoyne was Glenguin, Glengoyne. And it was anglicised to Glengoyne eventually, but at one point in history, it was actually known as Burnfoot. Question 8. Let's see how we're doing. As Whiskey Jason will be riding shotgun for me, no doubt. Terry Dolan is in. Fantastic to welcome you in, Terry. Good to see you here. I'm not going to look at the chat for the rest of these. Yeah, I'm going to try and do it blind. Fantastic. Do you feel you're being led by the chat? One day we'll have a kind of plug-in or some kind of module where we can run these quizzes, and it'll be much more kind of sporting and fair. But it's just a bit of fun just now. I don't think anyone's taking it too seriously, especially when we're all taking our own, keeping our own scores. Okay, question 8. Which of these distilleries now releases exclusively age-stated releases? So I'm going to give you a list of 3 distilleries, and I want to know the one which releases exclusively age statements, age-stated releases. Is it A, Glengoyne, B, Balblair, C, Macallan? Now I'm talking about now. I'm talking about the contemporary core range. I'm not talking about, I'm sure you would be able to find expressions that came without an age statement. Non-age statement is not a new concept. It's been going on forever. But I am talking about exclusively age-stated products now. Let's see what the... Whiskey Couch, fantastic. He's saying, thanks for your video today. And that's it to Eric Waite, superb. It's nice to welcome you in, Gustav. It's good to have you here. It must be quite late where you are, Gustav. It's fantastic to see you and participating in this. So many of you are saying, Eric Gilbert is saying A, Mashburn is saying B, Per is saying C, Whiskey 6 is saying Balblair. Lots of people were saying B, Balblair. Gregor is saying Glengoyne. Okay, good. Eric is saying Balblair are vintage dated. Okay, here we go. Let's find out. Which of these distilleries now releases exclusively age-stated releases? Well, of course, it is Balblair. Glengoyne release lots of non-age-stated releases, such as teapot drams, such as their cask strength, even though you can find out information, and obviously, but that's not the leader. Macallan have changed. They're not doing an 1824 series anymore, non-age statement, but they still do lots of non-age statement product. Balblair, everything that they release is age stated. It carries a vintage, and not only does it state the distillation year, but it also states the bottling year as well. And it's been like that for a number of years now. Again, another reason why we need to literally be but don't do it just based on how wonderful the presentation is and how everybody's telling you Balblair is a fantastic thing. Buy Balblair, even the young stuff, the 2005, for example, the 05, pour it next to an equivalent 10 or 11 or 12-year-old and drink it in contrast. Do the same for any expression, any vintage you buy from Balblair. And just be wondering why people are queuing up to spend ridiculous amounts of money for so many other ranges when Balblair are bringing that quality at that value. I'm not the first to say this. I understand. Everybody knows Balblair. And yet, Gregor is saying it's not age stated. It is vintage stated. I don't agree. If I said vintage stated in the question, Gregor, it would have been a giveaway. And it just needs maths to work out the age from a vintage. I don't like to differentiate between vintage and age when the distillation date and the bottling date is included on the label. If you only have a vintage to go by, I accept your point. We don't know what the age is. But when they have a vintage and a bottling, it's an age. Eric Waite is saying the tour guide at Balblair was great, second only to the Whiskey Rev. It's a shame he's not in here to hear that. Eric, I will not pass this on. If he doesn't turn up to the live, he doesn't get the compliments, right? Okay, guys, I hope you're doing well. We've only got 2 questions left to go. I'm running over. It's over 2 hours. This is crazy. What liquid is produced after mashing? So the mashing process produces a liquid that distillers refer to as A, wort, B, wash, or C, low wines. Damn, this is just too easy tonight. Is it A, wort, B, wash, C, low wines? It's going to be high scores tonight, I think. I hope this lasts. I don't even remember what question 10 is. Okay, it's not a completely easy one, but it's still, for the people who are informed, they're going to be informed. Question 9. I wonder what the scores are now. There's going to be some 10 out of 10s tonight, absolutely. James Hope is saying wort. Whiskey Jason wort. Welsh Tor is saying smash. You're a dude, Welsh. Fantastic. Lots of people saying A for wort. A. Gregor is saying 9. Wow. 9 out of 10. He's saying A. So have you already given yourself a point for this? Oh, question 9. A. I get it now, Gregor. Sorry. Thank you. Tom is saying beer. Wort. A. Okay, let's skip past this quickly because I think you can all pretty much give yourself a pat on the back. It's wort. Of course, it's wort. Wash is obviously once it's fermented, and at that stage, yes, it is beer. And low wines is after its first distillation through the wash still. Final question. Question 10, Whiskey Jason, sorry to skip ahead and be a bit fast. Question 10, which fast-flowing river flows past Deanston Distillery, providing power? It's one of the fastest flowing rivers in Scotland, and it provides more power than Deanston actually needs. So it's fed back to the grid. Is it the River Clyde? A. Or is it B, the River Teith? Or is it C, the River Leven? A, the River Clyde, B, the River Teith, or C, the River Leven? So I know a lot of you are thinking that this last question could give you 10 out of 10, which is kind of awesome in a lot of ways, right? And yeah, do you know what? We've not lost that many. We're at 69 now. We were at 78 when I started the quiz. The fact that after over 2 hours, 69 of you are still here is exactly the reason I'm going to miss so many of you. It's just, I'm going to miss all of you. This is just a wonderful way to spend a Thursday night. Everybody is saying B, B, B. Everybody thinks it's the River Teith. Okay. Terry is thrown in a guess. Good man. Eric Waite is saying Clyde is near Glasgow. Eric is suddenly the expert on Scotland. It's wonderful to see. Okay, the fast-flowing river that flows past Deanston, yes, is of course the River Teith. Superb, guys. So give yourself a point if you answered the River Teith. Just had a moth come into the room because of all these lights that are on. And let me know how you've scored. How have you got on as I kind of work out how to wrap up. Frank Lampard has just appeared in, or certainly, Frank, that's the first time I've spotted you. I have recently worked out that your little icon, and I've been talking about icons earlier tonight, Frank, is your icon the Wichita flag? Are you in Wichita? Do you live in Wichita, Kansas? Sherry Malt Drams is saying, we love you, Roy. No, you've no idea. I actually I challenge your love. I think I could challenge and conquer your love. My love for you is stronger than your love for me. Eric is saying haggis is awesome. I am the expert on it. Yeah, Eric was actually, I think his first mouthful of haggis he actually ate without knowing that it was haggis. But it was really cool to see that he was like, what's the problem with haggis? This is delicious. It was fantastic. There was lots of things about having Eric here that was fantastic. It was a little bit like looking at my country through the eyes of, sometimes we imagine it might be linked by welcoming an alien to Earth. Now, I'm sure that would be the same if I was in America or anywhere else. But that's kind of what it reminded me of a wee bit. Jason is saying 9 out of 10 under process. So let's see what some of these scores are, because this has been pretty fantastic and very well attended tonight. And I'll have to admit that the questions I felt were a wee bit soft in hindsight. I can't keep up with the scrolling. Okay, Macallan, Fine and Rare, Whiskey Jason, Per Christensen, all 8 out of 10. George Kaplan, 8 out of 10 as well. AJ, 8 out of 10. Eric, 6 out of 10. Still a pass mark, Eric. Well done. Jason Coates, 9 out of 10. Superb. Tom, 10 out of 10. Superb, Tom. Superb. Hoyt, 9 out of 10. Well done. Floydian, 06. Good to see you in again, my friend. 7 out of 10. Missed question 9. Apologies for that. And Frank is saying, yes, it is. It is the Wichita flag. Fantastic. There's a very good reason, I know that. Connor Strang is saying 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10, depending. That's a curious thing, Connor. There's always some controversy somewhere, isn't there? Whiskey Biker, 9 out of 10, fantastic. Gregor is saying 6 out of 10, not the best. Don't worry, Gregor. Just to participate and have you in here is fantastic, and it's still a pass. Terry Dolan has missed the first 3, got 1 wrong, so 6 out of 10. Good score, Terry, well done. Tom R, fantastic, absolutely, superb. 8 out of 10. Age Vintage threw me off. Well done, thank you very much. Whiskey, great score as well. I got a memorable, magnificent 6 out of 10. Well done, Welsh, superb. Did you see how everybody, you don't doubt for a second that the scores are absolutely straight and honest. Wonderful. Mead Meal saying lost count, either 8 or 9 out of 10. John, it's you. Come on, it was 9 out of 10. James Hope is saying 8 out of 10. I've just had a super chat swinging in. Per, did you not already buy me one? He's bought me a top-up dram for this. Thank you very much, my friend. I think you're in, well, you've given me your currency that you're donating in is from Denmark. So remember, you're in Denmark. Of course you are. Thank you very much, Per. I'm going to take a big sip out of this Bob Blair and say thank you so much. my wife will be driving to the airport in the morning. Sherry Malt is saying, going to miss you, Roy. Don't be a stranger for 2 months. I will find ways to stay in touch. Of course, I'll stay in touch with my patrons, of course. I'll be on Instagram. I'll be on Twitter. I'll try to remember to find anything that's interesting about whiskey-related stuff while I'm in Spain and when I come home and things. Of course, when I go to Texas, I'm going to find a way to share some stuff with you. It won't be a regular live like this, but I'll figure out something. John Paul Vanderhoven, thank you so much for buying me a dram. He's saying, enjoyed it. 4 out of 4. John Paul, Evangel guy done. Superb so much for exactly with it. Eric, you're a star. You're in here so often. It's just so nice. Annie Welsh Toro, Gregor, George Kaplan, of course, Jason Coates. The Alchemist is in again. Just spotted you now. Fantastic to see you. And my friend Paul Gibbs. Thank you, Paul. I've got these samples that we exchanged. I've got them all here. They're sitting here waiting for the Whiskey Rev to come down. I've already shared a photo with him and he's excited to come down. Thank you so much for your generosity. And it's good to see I've only just picked up. Guys, this has been absolutely wonderful. Please, if I go quiet and dark on YouTube, you can connect with me on Instagram and Twitter. There is a Facebook presence, but it's kind of a copy. Still, if you want to follow me on Facebook, I'm there under Aqvavitae, of course. And as I say, I'll be keeping in touch with patrons. Direct messages and emails and things, messages through YouTube, I will be keeping up with as well. If I leave you with anything tonight, let me just leave just how powerful Patreon is as a platform and how it is connecting and rewarding and encouraging this level of community. And the fact that Scotch Trooper has now got the opportunity of realizing his future, not from brand's perspective, but from the community perspective. And I think we all want to encourage that kind of creativity and art going forward. It would be wonderful. Connor Strang has just dropped me a dram. Thank you very much, Connor. I'm so looking forward to shaking your hand, buddy. I will be able to do that one day. Saying question 4 got me. Thought it was an Isla theme due to the previous 3 questions and guessed before we got the options. That wasn't intentional, Connor. It wasn't anything. Danny's saying Scotland the brave. Michaela the Doc is saying, Aqvavitae, all the best. Take care, my friend. Cheers, malt mates. Thank you so much, my friend. It's wonderful to see you in here. What did you score tonight? You always do really, really well. Jonathan Meadmeal, cheers, Roy. Have a great summer. You too, Jonathan. I'll be thinking about you all while I'm away. I'm going to miss you. I'll miss you too, Per. I definitely will. And one day, perhaps you and I will be able to shake hands too. Think Pi Ella Welsh Torres saying tortilla, jamon, gambas, all of it. My kids, my 2 girls, I've got 2 10-year-old girls, twins. And one of their highlights of going to Spain is going and getting the garlic prawns on the skewer, and the 2 of them they rip these things apart. They tear the head off the prawn and they suck the juice out the head. I'm so proud of them. They're from Glasgow, but they're budding little Spaniards when it comes to food sometimes. Bourbon Rice Scotch is saying thank you. Have a great vacation and a good US trip. Sherry Malton Drams saying thanks, Roy. Fantastic bourbon. Superb to have you on here. Whiskey Biker is saying enjoy your holiday. Many thanks for the show again. Everyone enjoy your summer. Fantastic. Whiskey Biker, thank you so much. And V-Rich is saying enjoy your holiday as well. Absolute blast. 2 hours, 20 minutes in, and it just flew by. It's a dream to be part of this community. It's a pleasure and a privilege. Until next time, folks, I'm going to raise a glass and I'm going to say Slancheva. I love you all. I'll see you in September.